reducing PCI DSS scope is obviously quite an important factor in our minds. It has been a very important factor in our minds, both as retailers as well as partners. So could I ask you to grade your concern about reducing PCI DSS scope from high, medium to low? So can we start by putting hands up for high? Okay. Medium? Okay. And low? Absolutely. So that's great. That's exactly what I was hoping to see. So it's great to see that pretty much everyone, it's high on everyone's agenda that PCI DSS scope reduction is important. And one way to achieve that, of course, is point-to-point encryption. That will go some way towards reducing the scope for all of us. You know, why point-to-point encryption? Of course, protect data in transit. You know, the whole idea is that we're trying to de-scope the retailer network, the actual retailer environment as much as possible. And to do that, card data encryption, whichever way you do it, needs to be done all the way from the PED to the actual acquirer or the gateway. And as a result of which, we can reduce the scope. We don't eliminate PCI DSS. You know, retailers still have that responsibility of PCI DSS. But what one can do is significantly reduce the scope of the effort required to be PCI DSS compliant. And point-to-point encryption can be achieved by a combination of network-level encryption, which is what do we mean by that? We mean from the PED, encrypting the data over a channel all the way to another PCI location, which could be a gateway. So that's effectively creating a secure channel, and that secure channel then has some benefits in terms of reducing the clear card data in the retail network, and over the internet, as it travels over the internet. Data level, on the other hand, is where the card data is actually encrypted from the PED, which means the actual PAN and the authentication data is encrypted, and it's then decrypted at the PCI zone, such as a gateway. Okay. Of course, both can coexist, so you can have a network level and a data level all in one. But clearly, if you have data level, you've got to a level where you can certainly say that card data in that particular solution is no longer visible in the retail environment. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have to do PCI, because you may have a multi-channel strategy. In fact, we had a talk, we had a poll earlier, how many people were doing multi-channel, and it was a lot of people, but they were all using different solutions. Yeah, so there wasn't one omni-channel solution today with any of the retailers, and consequently, you know, if you're using an e-commerce gateway, you have to identify the PCI requirements with respect to handling card data in that environment. So you've got to look at the whole holistic view of your retail environment. So when I talk about point-to-point encryption, it solves the problem of what we are delivering. It doesn't solve the responsibility of PCI. So talking about solutions today and being pragmatic, Verifone had a strategy of VeriShield Protect. And from what I understand, what Verifone has now said is that rather than using a proprietary key management technique of VeriShield Protect, they are opening up the PEDs to DUKPT-based key management, DUKPT. So the financial industry has always been using DUKPT to do PIN encryption. So what we have recommended and what we are advocating, and I think now the industry is also advocating, is that DUKPT should also be used for card data encryption in a point-to-point encryption environment. And that makes it a little bit more open and more standards-based than proprietary key management. However, you know, we need to be able to use the Verifone PEDs today. So our recommendation today is network-level encryption. Now, Verifone supports SSL outside of the PED. So from the PED, you can do SSL. So the solution that we are recommending currently, while Verifone opens up and gets duckput put into the PEDs, is that we use the PEDs with a LAN-based connection or a Wi-Fi-based connection, depending on, rather than USB or serial, and actually have a SSL, secure socket layer connection, so that the data coming out of the PED is network encrypted to the payment client, which is the EasyV or the WorldPay Total client, which is the same thing. And then from there, it's, again, SSL encrypted to the host. That's the solution. It's not perfect. It does mean that card data is in memory in the PC that you're using. However, the loss of that is far more difficult to crack. And of course, I think as a retailer, you are, and as a partner, you have to maintain good PCI DSS practices anyway on the PC. So, you know, firewalls, antivirus software, all these user control practices that PCI recommends have to be done no matter what solution. So today, WorldPay Total, by the way, is launched with 820 and 680s, okay, and that's available. And our recommendation would be to use those PEDs with a secure socket layer connection in the future. On point-to-point encryption on data level, there's some really good news, okay, in terms of timescales and what we're delivering. So the solution, this is a YESpay WorldPay Total solution. We're recommending for the North American market the IPP 320 CPX, okay, because CPX is a North American operating system of Ingenico, okay, and the IPP 320 is supplied by acquirers within the North American space, okay, and we are recommending the IPP 350 RAM for the European market. This particular product will be launched and certified with WorldPay Total first, and that is going to be certified by the end of June. So very aggressive time frame. So it means that you can actually consider using it even today. You know, by the time you implement, the solution will be certified. And so by July, we can pilot on the IPP 350 with full data level encryption, which is all duckput based, and it's open standards. And so truly, it is an end-to-end, first in the market solution where us as the gateway and the acquirer combination, as well as a gateway with other acquirer combination, we can supply a full point-to-point encrypted data level solution. Okay, and we're working very closely with Ingenico on this. In addition to that, there is another product, the Miura, which is the Bluetooth PED, which is being launched by WorldPay in a new service, which is a micro merchant service, which you will hear about in May, June time. And that is the micro merchant offering of smartphone apps working with the Miura small calculator size PED, which is a chip and pin unit. So, and that again is duckput based encryption built in, and it's a Bluetooth connection to the smartphone. So again, the strategy is card data level encryption using duckput. With Miura, we've already done remote key injection, so it means that we can actually change the keys and key management, though with duckput, you don't have such a problem of key management, of key change. But we can support that with Miura, remote key injection. And with Ingenico, we are working on remote key injection. So in the first phase in July, the delivery of the Ingenico PEDs is going to be around Ingenico injecting the duckput-based derivation keys in their factories before it's shipped out to WorldPay and YESpay, or YESpay merchants. So in summary then, duckput is becoming the industry standard because it's been there for a long time. It provides very good and easy key management. We are using industry-level encryption standards like triple DES, and we are doing data level duckbit encryption. But where currently duckbit is not supported, like in the Verifone, we are recommending the use of SSL-based encryption as an interim solution. So in summary, I think this year, 2013, I think now we're getting standardization on point-to-point encryption. And we are pleased to announce that we can offer that to you from July onwards with a full data level encryption capability on the IPP350 as part of WorldPay Total. So you will be able to get chip and pin, contactless, point-to-point encryption supported with a WorldPay Total or a YESpay offering. WorldPay Total obviously would include the acquiring package as well. We will continue to comply with security recommendations. Though we're going to launch the solution for live use in July, we will immediately on completion of the certification offer it for validation to our QSA, which is Ford Consult, which is the YESpay QSA, and they will do a validation of point-to-point encryption on our solution. Now, it's not a mandate today. PCI doesn't mandate, PCI Council doesn't mandate that we need that certification to go live, but we're going to do that anyway. Take us as your solutions partners and to use us as the encryption, point-to-point encryption specialists in providing the right solutions to you. I hope I'm giving you that indication that we're ready to do that work for you. The benefits then, high level of security achieved, both at the card data level and of course at our cloud payment service. We work with all the PED manufacturers. We're not specific to any one PED manufacturer. And we are giving choice, the Verifone, Ingenico, Myora. No bespoke proprietary software in the PED. In other words, there's no proprietary solution of key management and so on, and all the headaches associated with that. Simple migration of existing solutions, so you can have a multi-PED estate. PCI DSS certification, of course, and PED key injection in secure facilities offered, or remote key injection in the system, whichever is available depending on the PED.
When it comes to kiosks and point-to-point encryption or data level or network, I noticed on one of Rohit's earlier slides you still had the Verifone Secura up, which is now an end-of-life product. What's the best way of proceeding there? Because we use a lot of UPT PEDs.
Okay, the Verifone 820 with an SSL capability is something that's available to use in a semi-unattended environment. Actually, we have done that quite successfully with a network level encryption, okay? Because what we've done, in a kiosk environment, you can move the payment client off the PC, off the kiosk, and you can host it in the data center. And we have done that quite successfully with a major customer. I think we can talk about it. Yeah.
We've done it with Fuji.
Yeah, Fuji
here in the audience.
Yeah. And so effectively, it means that it's truly point-to-point encryption because the decryption of the data happens at the gateway, at the PCI gateway. So the EasyV client is actually running in the data center. And that is a great solution for kiosk because kiosk needs online capability. You know, you can't process transactions in a kiosk in an offline way anyway. So if the network fails, you don't lose any functionality in a kiosk environment by putting the client, the payment client, at the host. And we are offering that as a managed service proposition. So some major clients are using that with Fuji, for example, at the moment.